Today we are going to talk about, game and business development in terms of running your small indie studio. So my name is Raman Ulasau, as it was mentioned before. I'm co-founder and creative director of JetCat Games, and also I'm doing game design in studio.
And I'm Donatas Keras. I'm a founder in Practical Capital, so early stage venture capital, and we invested in JetCat Games as a crazy investment. but that's fun.
So let's start from the backstory. Originally, we are from Minsk, and we've been working in previous studio back in the days in Minsk. After that, we've decided that it's enough Belarus for us, because probably all of you heard all that crazy news about new awful laws, taxations, forbidden of freedom and all that crazy stuff. So bosses of our previous studio basically decided that we need to relocate to European Union to have some more solid business environment, and also to be able to do games basically in normal conditions. So we've been choosing between few spots. Basically it was Vilnius, Cyprus and Warsaw. We've chosen Vilnius because of its multicultural background. There are no problems with languages as in Poland, basically, because some people from our previous team haven't been speaking English, and even when you can speak English in Poland, it sometimes can be a problem to find someone speaking non-Polish. So we've started relocation around year and 7 months from now on during the summer. So I've been organizing all the relocation processes and so on. So basically, when we got our visas, with the help of Invest Lithuania, first challenges appeared, because Lithuanian embassy in Minsk have provided us only with single entry 90 days visas. So I had just 90 days to relocate 5 people without any experience of doing that kind of stuff before. So it was very intense, but with the help of lawyers and spending really big amount of money, we've did that. It was really intense, because every day, people asking me, so how is it going? How is it going? We have only 40 days left. The next day, how is it going? We have only 38 days left, and so on. So yeah, our relocation was really crazy experience. But as soon as we moved here, I've started, integrating into local community like game dev and startup community, because there were a lot of developers who moved here to Vilnius from CIS countries and also local guys. Also, it was my first engagement with startup community, because before my relocation here, I haven't been generally interested in that kind of stuff at all. So it was very easy, to get all the introductions here, to get to know basically everyone, including mayor, like previous mayor, current mayor. So it was, totally different from Minsk, when I even don't know how the mayor of Minsk looked like. So at some point of time, we decided, because previously all that, during background times in Minsk, we've been developing Heliborne. It's multiplayer helicopter arcade. So we've been developing it in our free time and wanted to pitch it to bosses of our previous studio, but it wasn't very successful. So we decided that, enough outsourcing and stuff, we should do something our own, and we've been feeling that we're getting pushed back. So we wanted some challenges, we had ambitions. So we started thinking about this in autumn, just, 4 months after relocation. So you can see how community positively, can act on you. So at first, we needed to get some advisors, so people with experience. It was pretty easy here in Vilnius, because a lot of local guys with experience, a lot of people who've been relocating. So I approached Sergey Klimov, probably some of you heard about him. He was running one of the first and biggest publishers in Russia and other CIS countries back in 2000s. And also I get a lot of help from Eddie. A lot of you basically know him as well. Basically more people than know Sergey. So I got some advices on pitching to investors about VC stuff and all that startup culture basically, and started building JetCat Games with our co-founders. But then hard times approach because we've been running out of money, and it's totally different situation when you're running out of money in your home basically, or in totally different country. And we had team from Belarus, Russia and Ukraine, so everyone was a bit far from their home. We started looking for some outsourcing possibilities, freelance and so on. But, if you're starting outsourcing, on massive scale when you have your own project, that means that you wouldn't be able to have a lot of time for your project, basically. So we've been starving and, burning our money slowly. And then we've got intro to Practica Capital, to Donatas, and we started negotiations. It took a long time, but they, been very helpful. So basically, even when we've been in negotiations, they provided some loans for us. So it was really
we
very
don't want you
helpful.
to die out of starvation. It's important stuff. So.
Wouldn't be good case for relocation to Vilnius.
Really, yes.
See Vilnius and die. So our main points for our whole pitch was like strong team with experience, because some of our co-founders, like Diana, she's an artist, so she basically is doing all the 3D models in our game, and she really has huge experience. She's been working in game dev for 8 years, I think, right now. So she's been doing some military stuff mainly, and just ordinary engineering stuff like modeling cockpits for Microsoft Flight Simulator, making tanks for World of Tanks and for other products. So we also strongly believe in our project, because everyone loves helicopters. There are just, helicopter in every game, in every movie, like everywhere. And there are not so much games about helicopters since the beginning of 2000. So we've decided, why not? We have, pretty good concept and market which is saturating for something like that. And also we've been offering, relatively short terms. So it was like year or something till the first results, basically. So we've started pitching actively, having a lot of meetings, conversations, we had meetings with potential investors at that point of time and our advisors. At the beginning it was pretty hard because they didn't have any experience in game dev, and we didn't have any experience in approaching venture funds or all that crazy business stuff. So, but at some point of time we've closed the deal. So now Donatas will tell some from his point of view.
So actually Roman is very right. We had no experience and still do not have a lot of experience in games, and investing in games is sometimes so much more complicated than investing in other ventures. So yes, we've been looking at more than 10 companies, 10 games in our previous history, and I had some imagination how things should be looking like, what kind of team it should be. Publishers, I knew the word publisher, right? I knew the word Steam, but never played a game on Steam and all these things. But no real practice, no real understanding, and no real experience in the field. So, and it's anyway. But being only kind of early stage investor in this region, I still get a lot of companies coming to me and talking about the game. So. However, this time, and we never did investment, never. We came close 4 years ago, first time with one of the Lithuanian companies, close to discussing possibilities of investment, but these guys moved to London and we said, no, we will not continue the game. So we didn't happen to invest in games so far. But in this case, we have a bit different maybe approach or whole situation, because first of all, the team was, again, advised for me by Edmundas Balčikonis, and he is being one of the CEO in my portfolio company, so I know that what he suggests or what he's bringing to the table, at least I know that the team is good enough, right? The people are at least experienced and know something, not just waste of time. So this thing helped a lot, and of course, but I was really skeptical. After first meeting with Raman, I said, oh my god, this guy with helicopters with a beard, oh my god, it's another game dev, starving already, that's crazy. But anyway, I took some more time and looked deeper in it, and things what really kind of hooked me a little bit more is, of course, the product itself and the level of readiness, and how the guys been prepared, and the experience in general. Because, of course, I don't want to say that we in Lithuania don't have experienced teams, but in this case, I saw that these guys has knowledge and understanding where to go further from the point they've been standing at. So the product, even with naked amateur eye, looked good enough. It seems like helicopters is flying, things are moving, right? And it's quite good enough. And I, of course, done some research, and I saw that, yes, helicopters is, it might look that in this, the game for helicopters is needed, right? But it's an assumption I never trusted, so yeah. So that thing, and of course, as Roman said, it took quite some time for us to understand, and Sergei Klimov, who was advising on Roman and JetCat Games, he spent, I don't know, maybe 20 hours with me drinking wine and beer and sitting in bars and restaurants and explaining how things should be done in the game studios. And somehow he was really realistic about the team also. He never said that this is, oh my god, this is another Rovio or Angry Birds or whatever. He said, yes, there is small chance that this game might be bought by 10,000 people. Maybe 20 at the end of the day. And it might be good exercise for you guys and good exercise for them. It's probably, but of course, 90% chance that you're going to burn your money. Okay, so I kind of understood that. But other thing was that the guys asked not for millions, right? They asked for a very reasonable amount, for very reasonable things and expenditures. The budget was really clear. They didn't want it to have salaries of 3,000 euros each of them, or hire another 20 employees for next 6 months, and the game is going to be released in the next 5 years or something. They said straight away, we need 6 months to eat and to continue what we're doing, and to concentrate on our product, on our game, not to do outsourcing, and that was kind of good enough. And we worked a lot. The process was long, but not the negotiation. That was important part. It was more education for us and more understanding of what these guys been doing. So, but anyway, probably we are worst investor in games. We are worst investor for these guys. But being worst also had some good angles, because we knew nothing, so we didn't interfere with anything what these guys been doing in the games, or whatever they made decisions to go to Steam, early access, or how to do that, when to do that, what pricing to put on things, what maps to use, or what helicopter should be in the game. So we never looked at that. I trusted Roman from day one on this, and I think it's worked out, right? But of course, we made some contribution, we made some inputs on calculating the money, of course, the budgeting, the other stuff, kind of business stuff, but not the game. So I believe being worst turned out to be not neutral, right? At least not interfering and not stopping you from doing what you do and you know best. So yes, so from my point, it is still exercise of understanding and exercise of getting experience and knowledge, and I think it's a good example because these guys still didn't run away to Minsk, and of course every time Roman is in Minsk I'm afraid that he will never come back, or he's going to be stopped at the border or put in a jail or something, but it never happened, and I hope it will not happen. Hopefully it not happen, yes. So yeah, so that was the reasoning from my point of view, and first experience, but not the worst, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah, and I can compare it with, experience of working in our previous studio when we had investors, like our boss found some investors from Russia. So it was already bad, but you cannot even imagine how bad it actually was. Like the guys were, visiting Minsk like every 3 months, I think, and like, oh, you should add this stuff into the game. We've also played, I don't know, Clash of Clans, so you should add this to your multiplayer RPG. So that was, sometimes to being too engaging or, wanting to help too much with game design or something like that, it's very, very, very bad. And like, it was really, they were very aggressive with that. Like, you should do this, like, or we will stop giving you money or something like that. So it was crazy.
I'm going to do that in next my investment in games, You should build a helicopter here, at least,
Okay, so let's go on. So the deal was like 100,000 euros and pretty fair amount of shares. So it's like, not that 20 or 30 or 40 crazy % of shares sold. It was, pretty solid and reasonable. So we closed the deal in August, I think, just after the Gamescom exhibition. And now, I guess, more interesting for you part begins. So we've been developing the strategy for game like during the negotiations, even after we closed the deal. So it took us, I think, a year to to have the final strategy and stuff. So the main question was like premium game or free-to-play game, because if it's world of something like tanks, planes, ships, or something like that, the cliche is that the game should be free to play. And basically every game with some military machines fit in pretty good in free to play case. But the problem is that sometimes players are very tired of free to play, and also that you cannot run free to play game without some publisher, assistance and all that, without experience in general in running free-to-play products. So that was our concern. Also, we've decided to start like closed alpha test. So at the beginning it was pretty sad, and like it was like, shit, we're running this alpha test for like a month and we have like 100 applications, and from them like just 30 people created their accounts after that, and like 10 of them maybe launched the game one time. So it was pretty depressive in the beginning, but we were like, okay, let's keep putting updates and just have some exercise with community interaction for us. Also, we started approaching different publishers basically prior to Gamescom to have as many meetings as possible during that event. So the strategy with publisher was like, that we want the publisher who can only provide funding, because there is, basically no reason to have just publishing efforts and the revenue share and everything else as publisher not committed fully with his money, because he can tell you all that stories that we do care about your game, about your revenues, blah blah blah, but as soon as he didn't put anything into it, he basically doesn't give any shit about this. So because we got really a lot of offers from that kind of publishers who like, we will provide you with top-notch marketing and all that kind of stuff, but we refused. We've been mainly acting with publishers, talking with publishers who wanted to provide funding. But the problem is that a lot of them were afraid of wargaming and Gaijin Interactive Entertainment, so they were like, oh, we would like to have this kind of product, but we're afraid of, concurrence and all that kind of shit. So it was like, okay, maybe it's good for us. So we've decided to self-publish on Steam and to make a pay-to-play title, so basically premium game. And at that time, we got the first YouTuber. So it was some Australian guy, and I still don't have any idea how he found us, but he had like, I don't know, maybe 17,000 of subscribers and pretty decent amount of views. So it's, that not the lowest tier YouTuber, but pretty medium tier and, with very engaged community, basically. So how we found out that he made a video, basically our website just dropped that So we started getting that applications. At first we was like, oh, spam bots get into it. So what the fuck, why we're having that kind of, applications every second? Because even our mail server got broken because of that. We've been receiving like 100 mails every hour. So it's like 59 minutes, we're receiving 100 emails, and then it's dropped dead again. So it was very positive. We've got, a live alpha test, and we was like, okay, probably we are doing things right if that kind of thing's happening. So we've contacted him, we prepared some interview next time, and we're still, engaged with him. He's making a lot of content, and it's, always good to have that kind of people making contact for a game. At that time, we've also started preparing our greenlight process. So we've been choosing the name of the game because we had a working title of like Heliborne or something like that, so it was really shitty, and that generic type of name. So it took us, I don't know, maybe a month to pick that Heliborne name we have right now. And it was totally accidentally. I was reading some military articles, and it was the first time I saw that basically name, like, because it's military term, and basically for airborne infantry, which is being deployed from helicopter. And in our game, you are deploying that kind of infantry, so we decided why not. So in autumn, we prepared all the text and all that and passed the green light. I will show you the stats on the next slide. But the most interesting part happened with us. I got an email from guy, Anthony Keaton. He was an Kerbal Space Program Community Manager, and he was like their main community manager during the period of their rise. So he has a lot of experience, and he sent his CV, and I was like, damn, this guy will ask for like 5K or something like that. So I've, been thinking about maybe I should like refuse politely or something like that. So, but I've decided to contact him, like to have Skype call, and just to be honest with him, like, Anthony, we don't have like any money except for food for us right now. So, but he was very positive because he's like, I'm working only with non-American studios, and every studio I'm sending my CV at, they're telling, you have too much experience, we cannot afford you, bye. So they didn't give him a chance. So basically, at first, he was working for free. After that, he was working for like 350 euros from United States because he was like really into it. And the level of his dedication, it was really crazy because I was like, getting up in the morning and he was still up, and we have like 7 hours, difference. So, and morning for me was like 12 or like 1 p.m. because we've been engaged with US auditory mainly. So it was really crazy, but really awesome experience. So as for the green light stats, we passed it in 6 days. It's, relatively easy to pass a green light nowadays if you have pretty normal game. So if you will have any questions after the presentation, I can show you this slide again, but basically nothing too interesting or secret here. So after the green light, we start preparations for early access. It was also, very complicated process because you need to have a lot of legal stuff ready for that, like company, US TIN, taxpayer numbers, and all kind of that stuff. We also needed to think how we will basically receive money from Steam. So it took a lot of time as well. I think a month or something.
Now we know.
Yeah, now we know.
If you have questions how to get money from Steam to Lithuania without a lot of taxes, let us know. We're going to help you with that, yes.
Yeah. So we've been working up with community strategy. So basically with that Anthony guy, we've had some basic guidelines, like, to be always honest with our community and as open as possible, being very responsive to any feedback, and, doing the kind of stuff people want to have in-game. So basically using the early access in proper way, not just to have some cash grab before full release or something like that, but really building the game with community. And also, we started working out approaching different YouTubers, and because he had really a lot of experience in that kind of stuff. So the strategy was approaching, some medium level YouTubers, basically, because they have way more engaged, community around them than the big guys. So we had, I don't know, maybe 12 or 20 videos, something around that, between 12 and 20 videos from different YouTubers with really large amount of views. And we was, pretty ready for that. After that, we've been thinking about price tag, because, for early access, the trend right now is to have the, that really crazy price, like 30 or 40 euros per game, because it's early access, you can try it first and all that kind of bullshit. But we wanted to do it differently. What we did, we set like that $9.99 price tag, so it was relatively low, especially for 3D multiplayer game. And we had a lot of content for early access, like two maps, 30 helicopters, so it was, pretty solid. And so we've set it and, pressed the button, and it was like really crazy. So the first day, like, we've sold more than we expected to sell in first month, because when I've been sending like all that stuff to Donatas, like, hey, in the beginning we will sell something around 1,000 on first month, but we've sold more than 2,000 on the first day, basically. And it was like really crazy, I think, because I dropped my university, so I cannot compare it with studying, during your session or something like that. But I have been sleeping like, I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 hours per day, and like, running a lot of coffee. And we've been talking with our community so much, like we have so much posts, so much engagement. And the community was very positive, like, about all that kind of stuff. So in month we sold like 11 and something thousand of Steam units. But like at the beginning it was like really crazy, especially because first few reviews were from the guys who cannot, they were not able to launch the game. So we had 2 negative reviews from the beginning, and I was getting nervous, like fuck, it's going to be like negative reviews and nobody will buy our game. But basically right now we have around 83% or 82% of positive reviews, so it's, relatively good. So for post-early access, it went not so smooth because we've been delaying the milestone updates, but our community was still pretty positive about this. So we've decided, to be honest with them and telling why we were delaying like updates, because we're integrating new programmer in the team, or we're having some critical bug and we can fix it, or like, fix 10 other kind of small bugs. So we've been always asking our community what to do. And we started looking for some people. Basically, we found some people from CIS countries, basically because a lot of them have much more experience than local studios, because all local guys who have experience, they already have their own studios. So, and we are hiring from Kazakhstan, from Russia, but it's going good so far, and we're going to relocate some of the people here, basically, as well. So, as we talked before, like it was two-side benefit cooperation, because I've learned a lot of new things about business, and like Praktika started learning about gaming industry. So
a little bit, yes.
Yeah, a little bit.
And of course we started to expand our network in the field, so now at least know maybe 10 to 12 publishers around here. I know probably all the bigger guys in post-Soviet Union. We met a lot of these guys, and of course some of the VCs who are really investing into the games in later stages. So of course it's a lot of learning for us.
So I will tell more about our future plans. So we're going to have full release in December, and we'll see how it will be going. We will be doing some DLCs after that or something like that, so the future will show. Now Donatas can tell you what is important if you want to be invested, basically.
Yeah, it's probably no rules for that, but of course after this experience with JetCat Games, we gonna be looking not more, but at least we'll be able to judge on products and games and studios here locally with more understanding and with real sense and judgment. So we're gonna be continuing doing that. I'm not saying that we're gonna start investing in games. No, it's not the case. But I'm sure we're gonna have at least 1 or 2 more games or studios in our portfolio during next 2-3 years. So if you need a relative small amount of money from 50 to 200 to 300k of euros and you have a product ready, so I'm at least the guy who will understand better than I used to 3 years ago. And of course, what I want to see is at least dedication, as Raman has. I don't want you to starve, no, not this way, but at least the full dedication and full understanding of where you're going and what you're doing. So that's good enough. And if we have mutual trust in each other, we can go and we can do it. So it's easy like that, I would say.
Okay, so it's the end. If you have any questions.
Do you have the trailer?
Oh, here not, but like you can easily find it on Steam or whatever.
How's sales after the initial month?
So basically they're going in that kind of plateau, they are lower right now, but we haven't been releasing any milestone updates. So we're going to release some milestone updates prior to Steam Summer Sale, and we'll see how that, kind of big updates will affect on sales.
By plateauing, do you mean like total number of sales or sales per day?
It's like sales per day, they're pretty similar, the last 2 months, I think. It's like, around, I don't know, 50, 60 copies per day, and on weekends it's like higher, like. And if there are some videos out, the sales going up, and the fun thing is that the smaller YouTuber is, the better is conversation of views into, the sold copies, basically. So, anyone else? No? Okay.
That gives hope for niche, games, because your game is pretty niche, and it's very nice to see that you're doing successfully financially. And selling. I'm pretty actually impressed.
Thanks. So.
Me too, yes. I'm impressed also, yes.
So, thank you all.
One question before you go. You will be in the Nova building now, I guess, in the startup
Who,
area?
Me?
Yes.
Yeah, probably startup fair area. I'm going to be more in the meetings.
Yeah. Okay. So if you want to catch
no, guys, it's not the problem. I'm in Vilnius. I'm really accessible. My email is donatas@praktika.lt. So you write me an email, and we're going to get a meeting in a week. It's not an issue. Not next 2 weeks because I'm going to be fishing, but afterwards for sure.